September is Baby Safety Month, and a good time to review some ways to keep our babies safe now is, I know, if we could create a bubble around them to keep them free from harm, we absolutely would, but there are more practical steps we can take. We saw that movie, It Doesn't Work. To guide us through, pediatrician Dr. Lisa Miller joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Miller.
Morning, Alyssa. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an incredibly important topic, and when we're spending so much time with our children at home right now, I know a lot of parents are thinking about this topic.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, with just regular sicknesses come fall and winter, that's already anxiety inducing enough for parents. But now you add in a pandemic on top of that, and that can just be downright terrifying. So let's first talk about a fever. What temperature is considered a fever in an infant?
Sure. When you bring your baby home, a fever is the same for everyone. It doesn't matter how old you are, but for the first 6 weeks of your life, or two months, but especially 6 weeks, a fever is 100.4, not 104.
Okay.
100.4, not 104. That's the temperature you're looking for. And if you get that temperature within the first 6 weeks or 2 months of your life, you need to take your baby to a pediatric emergency room. There are only 4 in town, so these are the 4 that you need to go to: Sunrise, Sienna, Summerlin, and UMC.
Hold that up just a little bit higher. Perfect.
These are the 4 pediatric emergency rooms in town. If your child gets a fever of 100.4 within the first 2 months of life, best way to take that is rectally. Now, I know a lot of parents are anxious about that. So if you take a temperature axillarily, means underneath your armpit, and you get close to that 100, then take it rectally. Don't use those forehead thermometers or ear thermometers until they're 2. That would be the best age for those. I know the hospitals use a lot of those, but those are special grade.
Oh, okay. So what about Tylenol versus Motrin? What can you give an infant?
Tylenol, you can give Tylenol up to, we give that to 6 months of age. After 6 months of age, you can give ibuprofen. After 6 months of age, make sure your pediatrician tells you the dosing for the weight of your child. But under 6 months of age, typically we give acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. We typically do not give that from age 0 to 2 months because you don't want to mask a fever, which is what you would take the child to the emergency department for.
Okay, very important to note. Okay, now we want to talk about SIDS, and you're going to have some tips for this. I know parents have different approaches when it comes to co-sleeping or not. What do you recommend as a pediatrician?
Sure. There's all sorts of cultural differences and ways people have done it from when they were children. And all that. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that you do not co-sleep. If you need to co-sleep for breastfeeding or things like this, they prefer you get a co-sleeper bed, a little bed that kind of hangs off the side. Typically want the baby, the 3 things to remember, here's your ABCs of sleep. You want your baby alone in the bed, on their back, and in a crib. They don't really recommend sleep positioners or things like that at this point because some of them, your baby can get caught in them. But your baby should be placed on their back, alone in their own crib.
Okay, and Dr. Miller, we're running out of time, but this is so important. Let's talk vaccines and why it's important for children to get vaccinated.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says please get your child vaccinated on time. Discuss with your pediatrician all of your concerns because we know there's a lot. Please get your child a flu shot. You can get them as young as 6 months of age. And typically children 6 and older can go to just a pharmacy or anywhere, but under that, you can go to your pediatrician. This is a website I think your audience would love to see if you want everything baby safety or child safety, everything. This is a fantastic website to go to. Lots of information there.
Healthychildren.org. Please go to that website because obviously there's a lot more that we can't get to today. Dr. Miller, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
All right.